Welcome back to the Ribbit Tuesday. It's another weekend, it's Friday, and Netflix drop their movies and their TV series every weekend, and that's what I'm here for, to kind of talk about what's new that's dropping on streaming services. And this weekend, Netflix's series is a South Korean series called Bloodhounds. It's one I was excited about, but when I looked at how many episodes, I thought, I'm gonna be tired. Here to talk about whether it's worth you jumping into this. So let's talk about it. In order to pay off their debt, three daring youths jump into the money lending business while confronting the rich and powerful who prey on the weak. So there's 8 episodes. They're all about an hour long, so it's quite a long watch. And I would say that you don't need to watch the whole lot together, so that's probably you breathing a sigh of relief, although we have kind of learned to be in this binge culture now. So if you want to do that and you have the time or the stamina, or you're feeling ill and this is going to be your day's watch, I think you could do a lot worse than watching this series. There's something about the South Korean Netflix content that they've been putting out for a while now. Not everything is top tier, but a lot of it is. This is why recently Netflix have invested something like 2 billion into the Korean content, which gives you an idea of that content is going to be good for the future as well as what they've had in the past. So here we have 2 Marines that are our main protagonists, both boxers. They come together after a fight ends interestingly, and out of that fight a friendship is born. Kim Gun-woo befriends Hong Woo-jin, and that's where our story really kind of gets together until we have that third protagonist, and she is an interesting character. I think what makes this worth watching is the fact that they concentrate so much on character and building character. So when we get to our action pieces, we have really earned those action set pieces. But it's our characters that I think you root for, the underdogs, where there's a lot of high-powered people in this series preying on the weak, basically cleverly using small shop owners as a leverage to build their business up by getting them to sign contracts. And you have what are called bloodhounds here, I guess, in Korea, which is why they're called bloodhounds, is people that go and collect the money when they need to pay up, when the interest is suddenly very high. This is how their business model works. Mostly people can't pay the interest, but they have to go to them because of how much trouble they're in. It's created around the COVID time, so everybody's wearing masks. People can do despicable things in masks because they can hide their identity more easily. I know we've had a lot of content when it comes to COVID, the COVID time, and a lot of it was just pants. It was not great, felt cheap, and felt like they pulled back on using lots of people because they couldn't use lots of people. Here we have a story that's using the COVID storyline but actually works to its benefit. Actually adds to the tenseness, actually helps when the streets are empty, really helps to the atmosphere that they're trying to create. So that is a mechanic that I think is used in helping with the mask and the situation. I think that works really well. So we get our 2 Marines that are opposites of each other but somehow really complement each other. Reminds me of the Lethal Weapon sort of camaraderie that they have. One is a very quiet, reserved person who loves people and is very honorific, so he will be that guy that, you know, will open the door for people, loves his elders, is the one bowing the most, even when he's pulling off someone, as we see right at the beginning of the first episode, pulling off someone off a bus because they're coughing and not wearing a mask and refusing. He's pulling off his elder but also bowing and saying sorry, but also stopping that person from damaging other people. He's that sort of guy. And then we have the opposite, a flamboyant guy, loud and proud, and he's the type of guy that seems to be like the life of the party, that guy, but also has a dark past when he was already a sort of loan shark collector trying to make ends meet. And so we come with those 2 storylines in tangent as I guess you could call it a climactic event. Apart from the boxing match that we have at the beginning, there's an event that kind of thrusts them together, that solidifies the 3, and that comes down to a really great fight sequences. That's when we get our main arc kind of pushed through, but you have to push through the first few episodes as the story is world building. There's a great fight sequence in episode 4, and talking about the fighting, let's get into that. The fighting is something that I've noticed with South Korean series. When they show fighting, they show it. They don't shy away from all that practice choreography, which they've probably spent, like a filmmaker and the choreographers have spent hours and hours and days and weeks, and then they, in the editing room, cut it up choppy and fast so that you can barely see anything, referencing even the new Transformers movie. Like you're surprised by that, but I was surprised because people were saying how great the new Transformers movie is. But again, it was so hard to see a lot of the action because you're so close to these fight moves that you can't see the punch being thrown, and then you're cutting so quick. Here we do have cuts, but it cuts to a way that you can see the choreography. It cuts to elevate the move or the kick or the stab. And so we have two different styles of fighting, or two different styles of boxers fighting, and they complement each other. And so this one particular fight scene in episode 4 is where we see our three fight, two boxers and a female with, I guess, knife fighting sort of martial arts skill with a taser. And watching how much you get to see was just so enthralling, so realistic. It's not like they don't get hit. All of them are getting beat to crap, but they keep getting up, very much in Sisu style, which I really like. So our heroes are human, they're vulnerable, but they have the tenacity, well, the Sisu, to fight for the thing that they want, which spurs them on. So they definitely have incredible skill, but it's what they're fighting for that helps them keep going. And that's when we start getting really into the interesting part of the story, when they want to take down the big bad. And that's probably the part where you're going to be like, I was sold before, but now I'm double in. It's probably the part when you get to each episode, you're going to be wanting to click over, because we've invested half a season of getting to know our characters, getting to know the mothers, the cooking, the conversations around the table with dinner. You know, you like these characters, you're rooting for them, and that's when you're like, yeah, screw these bad guys, they really are ruining everybody's lives. And with the flashback sort of episodes or moments of those episodes, you get to see how our sort of bad guys have come, and how the story arc interweaves with each other, linking to the characters we now know. So it's cleverly puzzle pieced together. So as we're building to kind of the montage training segment that you're gonna have, to our characters having to go take down in clever tactics the bad guys, side characters or henchmen, to get to the main bad guy. It feels like a video game as you're going from level to level to level until you're getting to that crescendo piece. And don't be surprised if our protagonists get knocked down in ways that you think they're never going to get up again. But then we get that, no, we're going to do this and we're going to come back, a sort of Rocky story where, you know, they come back bigger, badder and stronger to give us the crescendo of the ending that I think you would come to love and respect. When it comes to cinematography and sound design with the editing, all complement each other very well. I would say watch it in the original language. You get those nuances that I always talk about when you watch the original language and you're reading subtitles. The only thing I would say is, if you really want to concentrate on the action scenes, then change it over to the English, because there isn't much dialogue in those moments and you can concentrate. But when you're trying to read subtitles and watch action at the same time, that's something that's quite difficult to do, which I struggled with in this series particularly. So I did swap over to English, so if there was any dialogue I could just listen and watch the action, because the action is incredibly well done and it's tense, and sometimes like has some really nice gut punches in the emotional bit because you care about the characters. So let me know what you thought about this series. I'm going to give this 4.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
And you got one. Congratulations.
It is a bit long in the tooth. I think it could have probably been shorter, and that storyline is it's been done before, but it was a hell of a ride, and I love the characters and I love the way it's filmed. So love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks so much for watching. What other South Korean series are there at the moment that perhaps are not on the Netflix platform that you think I should review? I know there's a lot coming out. There's some that kind of sneak by into the Disney, Hulu, Stars platform. There's sometimes some on Amazon. So if you see any, let me know. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.